You ever feel like your back is up against the wall and you have all of these people crowding up against you and blaming you for being single, attacking you for being single, and demeaning you for being single? It's like you're throwing your hands up and you're like, at the same time trying to protect yourself, like, get away from me, you heathens. Well, this actually is the way a lot of single lesbians feel. And it's kind of twofold, because you're a female and you're expected to be in a relationship. You're expected to get married sooner than later. But on the other hand, when they either find out that you're lesbian or they know that you're lesbian, then they want to even exasperate the situation more so. So as a single lesbian, you're dealing with people on the outside asking you, why are you still single? Pressuring you to get in a relationship. But at the same time, they're trying to change you, because you'll have men trying to get with you, and you'll have women who are trying to convince you that you're going through a phase and that you need to come to your senses and get a man. So what do you do with all of this chaos, all of these voices in your ear? And believe me, it's not just in your head, because people will try to make it seem like, oh, you're just imagining things. No, this is really happening. And then I'll throw in a couple of more aspects of being a single lesbian. You actually don't mind being single, but you also look forward to being in a loving relationship with a woman as a lesbian. And when you haven't quite met the right woman, and you're still trying to improve your own life, or maybe you are at a point in your life where you're very satisfied, you're very happy, and you've enjoyed being single, but now you're ready for love. But the right woman has not come into your life. You're single, not by choice. You're actually single because you haven't been able to meet the woman who you desire to be with. So you're fine with being single, but you also want to get to a point where you can mingle. But where is she? So you're dealing with all of these people telling you where you should be at in life and how you should have been married. And then they have the nerve to even tell you that, oh, you're single because you're gay. If you would get your act together, then you would have a man already. So you have all these people telling you that you are single because you're a lesbian. And then you know that that is not the case. But because you are not always certain about what's going to happen next with your life, you may begin to ask yourself questions about, well, why am I still single? And actually asking yourself, why am I still single, is not a bad question to ask. But you just want to be careful to not allow the other voices around you that are trying to manipulate you and dictate your life to cause you to get down on yourself. So you have people who are telling you, you need to be in a relationship, you need to get married soon. And then you have people saying, well, you're not really a lesbian. You are just going through something right now and you just need to get over it and you need a man. And then you're thinking to yourself, well, I know who I am. I'm a lesbian. I know I'm single. I know I've been single for a while, longer than I thought I would be, but I've done pretty good for myself. So why am I single? And then you have the scenario where there's these married people, and the married people are coming along and they're giving their 2 cents. And they're saying, I don't understand you people nowadays running around living like you're gonna stay young forever. I mean, I got married at 17. I've been married for 25 plus years. And I've met my spouse. Why haven't you? What's wrong with you? You need to get it together. Like, what are you waiting on? I'm so glad that I am married, because the last thing I would want to be is single, especially nowadays. You see, back in my day, we used to care about being in relationships, but you young folks, you act like you're just supposed to be single all the time. You act like that's the thing to do. I just don't understand you people. You need to be married. I mean, I'm married. I've been married for a long time. I found the one. And I just don't understand why you celebrate being single like it's just the thing. Like, what's going on? Like, there was a time when everybody used to be married. Everybody. And I heard a rumor about you, young lady. I heard that you are calling yourself a lesbian. Is that true? Well, let me tell you something. We didn't have lesbians when I was growing up. So that's nonsense. You need to be thinking about the long term. You need to think about starting a family. You need babies. You need to stop being single. And you need to stop calling yourself a lesbian because you are pushing the men away. All of those good men out there, you pushed away. Young lady, there's nobody's fault for you being lesbian but you. And I'm proof because I'm married. I'm happily married. So, you mean to tell me that married folks don't even have empathy nowadays to the singles, and especially to single lesbians? That's the world we live in? Well, that's why I'm having this rant today. So bear with me because I'm going to rant. I'm going to rant about being a single lesbian. I'm going to rant about not being married as a lesbian. And I'm going to rant about these married folks because, well, sometimes you just need to rant. So, being single is a relationship status. There are three main types of relationship statuses. There's more, but I'm just going to break it down to three main relationship status. One relationship status is being single. A second relationship status is dating. And a third relationship status is being married. And if you do not believe that a relationship status is being single, well, income tax season is here. And when you do your W-4, when you apply for a new job, or when it's time for you to fill out the paperwork to file your taxes, what do they ask you? They ask you what your relationship status is. And you better believe that single is one of those options. So if you're single, you select single. Because being single is a relationship status. And it impacts your life on down to how much money you earn. Why are people making such a big deal about being single? Why do they believe that being single is not fulfilling? Well, I'll answer that for you. Because the people who tell you, a single lesbian, that being single is not fulfilling, have never been truly single. These people have always been in tumultuous relationships. If you look at those people's lives, they do not have healthy relationships. They don't. Even if they've been married since they were 17 years old. And now they're 68. You have to consider the mindset of people, even the generation that they come from. Because statistics actually show, and I've talked about this before on my YouTube channel, but the statistics from the 1950s to the 1970s on up to the 2000s regarding marriage rates, and they focus on heterosexual people, there has been a decline in marriage, meaning people are either divorcing and or they're remaining single. So, like in the 1950s, more than 70% of the population was married. But why was that? Well, because marriage was promoted for economic reasons. But also, marriage has always been supported for religious reasons as well. Marriage has also been supported by a patriarchal system. And women historically were never able to make a decision on who to marry. Meaning, there were usually arranged marriages, meaning that you didn't have a say-so who you married. Your parents would arrange your spouse for you. And these women, they were actually very young when they had to get married. Some of them were like teenagers, like 16 years old, 17 years old, married. Whole families, children, and the whole shebang. It was the culture that actually forced these marriages. And I do mean they were forced, because young girls, from the moment they can start talking, they have been sat down and given this storybook about this knight in shining armor who is going to rescue this poor little single girl from such a lonely, miserable, poor life. So the knight in shining armor is strong, strapping, handsome, debonair, and wealthy. And the poor girl is desperate for love. And the only way that she can get out of the dire circumstance that she is in is the knight in shining armor has to pick her. And if she's not picked, well, then she's looked at as worthless. And her self-esteem is shot. That's how young girls are reared. It's programming. And then you have the movies and the animation films, which program you and show you all of these same scenarios where the girl is always in this situation where she's just this damsel in distress and she needs to be saved by a man. She learns this very young, from the moment she can start uttering her first words. So by the time she's a teenager, she's now saying, where is my husband? Where is my husband? And she's fantasizing about walking down an aisle, getting married to a man. Because of the programming. The young lady hasn't even had enough time to develop on her own, to think for herself. But lesbians are programmed just like all the other girls, the heterosexual girls, the bisexual girls, the pansexual girls, the asexual girls. We're all programmed the same because, well, they just think all females are the same. But we're not. But lesbians aren't sitting up fantasizing about a knight in shining armor who comes in the form of a man. But yet, she's been deceived and tricked into believing that's what and who she should be with. And that's why people who tell you a single lesbian, that being single is so lonely, it's so embarrassing, it's so unfulfilling, because these people are warped in their mind. They're bots, and they're trying to program you. They're trying to shame you for being a female who is single and a female who is a single lesbian. Get away from these people as quickly as you can. And I understand sometimes you are not in a situation where you can actually literally get away from these people. Maybe you live with these people as family members. Maybe you're in a certain predicament where financially you're not able to move out or afford to live on your own. Maybe you have something going on with your health. It could be so many reasons why you're kind of around these people. But create some mental space for yourself to protect your energy, because you're going to need it. Like, if you have to write in a journal, if you need to listen to soft music that's soothing, if you are a spiritual person, study the scriptures, pray and meditate to the Most High God. And I am an advocate for mental health care. Hire a therapist, hire a life coach. That's why they are therapists. That's why there are life coaches available, because sometimes you need assistance and guidance and accountability. And you also need a healthy voice that can encourage you and inspire you and motivate you to appreciate your position in life. Give you a new perspective, because when you are around people who are not like-minded, it does affect you, and it can affect you very negatively. And you can get so used to it to where you neglect yourself, or you think that you can really handle the situation. But you're struggling, and you're becoming depressed. You're becoming discouraged. You're starting to question your life, but to the point where it's not a question to process and think through your experience in order for you to reach a resolution. You're becoming doubtful and paranoid and anxious about who you are as a single lesbian. And I recommend hiring a therapist, hiring a life coach. I'm a certified life coach. That's why I am here. And I always wanted to be able to talk to a lesbian mentor. When I was very young, like when I was like in middle school, high school, I remember longing for times when I had a need, a craving to be able to speak to someone to help me understand my situation or work through and navigate through life as a Black lesbian adolescent who was surrounded by people who did not get me. And I am today a certified life coach. I provide that service for women, for young adolescent, young girls even, who need a voice, someone who can give them a clearer, brighter perspective. Because as lesbian women, and if you are a Black lesbian woman or a Black lesbian teenager, we experience struggles in very nuanced ways that other races and nationalities of women don't experience, even if they are lesbian or same-sex attracted. Because, for example, in the Black community, being a homosexual is not even up for discussion. So imagine how many of us have not been able to just have a open, straightforward, honest, loving conversation with people in our own family about who we are. You just don't know how much that negatively impacts you. And so sometimes you have to reach out to someone who's been there and who's made it through those hard times. Because you think, I can get through this alone. But we don't have to do life alone. That's why there's other people. And I can assure you, when you do things all by yourself all the time, you don't really see all of the opportunity, or you may miss out on resources and new people that you can meet in life because you just kind of shut down, or you're afraid of how another person may view you. So you just do it all by yourself. And I get it, because sometimes the people closest to you disappoint you. They're the ones who don't support you or acknowledge you. But that's why sometimes you have to reach out to a professional, someone who is not that close to you in the sense of being a relative or someone who you've been around most of your life. That's why you hire a professional, because a professional will be very authentic and they will see the situation clear. Whereas if you are just talking to someone who knows you because you're related to them, they may not always be as honest with you, or they could be trying to coerce you into doing things the way they want you to do them. But a professional therapist, a professional life coach like myself, I will not be biased with you. I'm going to be very direct and honest with you. And that's why you need to reach out and take care of your mental health. Some of us may be wondering, why am I still single? Have you ever thought that maybe you're still single because you're asking the wrong person? It's just something to think about. I hope that single lesbians find peace with being single. And even if you haven't met your significant other, does not mean that you won't. But I want you to be able to get through that journey with as much ease as possible. And sometimes it's all right to let someone else guide you through that process. I am Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm here for you if you need life coaching. My contact information is here on YouTube, on my homepage, and in the description box below this video. You also can just go directly to my website, www.gisellewallace.com. And my first name is spelled Giselle. My last name is spelled Wallace. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a beautiful day.